How come I'm not losing weight? Oh, it is so frustrating. I know, right? Like you seem to be doing all the right things. You're eating well, you're exercising consistently, and inevitably the week comes where the scale stops moving, and then it doesn't move for weeks. Listen up. Today we're going to talk about it. Adam Gilbert here, founder of My Body Tutor. I'm the head coach, Haley Pulley, and we have been at this for 15 years. We have seen the 5 biggest mistakes people make in their weight loss journey, why the scale stops moving, and today we're going to crack this nut right here, right now with you. All right, Adam, first big mistake. Give it to us.
First big mistake is not tracking all of our food. What we measure gets managed, and what gets managed gets improved. And if we're not, tracking what we eat, then it's hard to know where we're going wrong, where we're going right, etc. So it's really important that you track all your food.
Right. And now you're not talking like counting every little calorie, not that kind of tracking, right?
Oh, no, definitely not. It's just more to build an awareness. It could be a picture. It could be, writing down everything you eat. But the idea is you're tracking it, right? No, just a very quick side tangent. I don't like counting calories because A, it doesn't change your relationship with food. B, it relies solely on willpower, which always fades. And C, it eventually makes you crazy. So I'm not talking about, counting your calories or counting your macros or anything like that. It's just, it gives you an opportunity to pay attention to what you're eating, right? And that's the key because, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people, and I have it all the time, where it's like, well, I eat really healthy, but I can't seem to lose weight. And then when we work with them for a few months, even a few weeks, like you can see very quickly why they aren't able to make progress on their goals. As I like to say, our body never lies.
Right. So in essence, if we kind of adopt this idea of like experimentation, or like say we're like a scientist, right? And we keep getting certain outcomes. Well, a scientist isn't just not going to examine like what they're doing that leads to those outcomes. They're going to be tracking all the steps they took, all the ingredients they put together or whatever, right? Like they're tracking all the things that lead to those outcomes. So if the scale is stuck, well, let's look at what's happening each and every day, right?
Right. So many opportunities, right? It could be you're eating off your kids' plates. You're eating when you're not realizing it. Mindless eating. There's just countless things we eat that sometimes we're just not even aware of.
Right. So, okay. So that brings us to mistake number 2, which has to do with portion distortion.
Yes. Portion distortion means we're eating more than we think we are, right? We feel like we're not eating all that much. But it turns out we're actually eating a lot more than we think we are. And that is why, writing down what you ate, taking a picture of what you ate can really be a game changer because it brings to light what's actually going on.
Right. And I would say too, like, I know I've come across those times where, maybe myself or a client, like working through, it's like, yeah, all these foods are really healthy, but we're just eating too much of them, right? Like even too much broccoli is still too much.
Yes. Unfortunately, a lot of healthy food doesn't make it more healthy. There is a point of diminishing returns, right? There is a point where it becomes wasteful. Our body doesn't need it. And one of the best ways to overcome portion distortion, A, is to start with less, right? Starting with less, I know myself, many people, you put something in front of us on a plate, it's kind of like the clean plate club, we're going to eat it. So start with less. Starting with less always helps, but also allow yourself to really focus on eating slowly, right? Focus on taking sips of water between bites of food. Put your utensils down between bites of food. Savor the flavor. Pretend you're like a food critic, right? You have to write a review of the taste, the texture, the smell, etc. The slower we eat, the more we savor the flavor, the more we allow ourselves to feel how we feel as we're eating, the better off we'll be.
Awesome. And when we eat more slowly, we are also probably going to start identifying how our body feels as we consume food, right? So this would bring us to a scale we call the fullness scale.
Yeah. So the fullness scale, we've all eaten too much, say on Thanksgiving, whatever it is. We feel stuffed, we feel tired, lethargic, we want to take a nap. We promise ourselves we're never going to eat again, right? That's not a comfortable feeling. And then on the other side, we're absolutely ravenous. We're starving. Anything and everything sounds good, right? So you have, ravenous on one end, which is a 1, stuffed and full, you want to go to sleep, is a 5, right? The goal is to feel like a 2 or 3, satisfied and light. Like you can easily go for a walk or a jog after you eat. Because again, that's the goal. Food should energize us. It should not, it should not take away our energy. We shouldn't feel exhausted after we eat. And again, the best way to do that is to focus on eating slowly. Sips of water between bites of food, utensils down between bites of food. Again, allow yourself to feel how you feel as you're eating.
Awesome. So now you've mentioned allow yourself to feel how you feel, right?
Yeah.
So another big mistake that a lot of us make is eating for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, that's funny. Allowing yourself to feel how you feel. But what I mean by that is like, so often we're just eating, mindlessly. We're eating emotionally. We're eating for stress, because we're stressed. We're not even realizing what we're doing. We're not conscious, right? It's, I hear it all the time. It's like, and then I realized I ate this or I ate that. Like, you're not in the moment, right? You're just kind of reacting. And the idea here is that you're learning to eat for the right reasons, right? So what I mean by that is when the right reasons is physical hunger, right? Physical hunger, right? We feel hungry for food, right? We feel it in our stomachs. We feel it in our head. We feel it in our stomach a little bit. But it's definitely for food, which is physical hunger, whereas emotional hunger comes on suddenly. We crave specific foods. We crave a specific texture. With emotional hunger, we can have snack after snack and nothing hits the spot. And the idea here is that we want you to eat for physical reasons, not emotionally.
Right. And we want to be careful of that, I think, right? Because we also talk a lot about progress, not perfection. And I think sometimes some of us, I know I'm guilty of this, we can get a little bit perfectionistic in that practice of eating for physical reasons only, right? And so I think the bigger mistake that some people make, mistake number 4, is we don't plan for those times. We want to indulge, right? And we end up ruining our consistency. So that kind of brings us to our next point here. Weekends are often a place this happens. So let's talk about planning for times we may indulge.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like we're very good at, for the most part, planning appointments, planning meetings, planning, things for our kids. But for ourselves, we're not very good at it. And, part of planning, and planning is so powerful, is planning ahead your indulgences, right? So let's say you're going out to dinner on Saturday night. That's great. We want you to be fit and happy, not fit and miserable. But there's also a lot of other meals and snacks that you might eat before that meal on Saturday. Right, but what happens is because we don't plan, we wind up, we throw in the towel and we say, all right, forget it, I'll just start fresh on Monday. And one of the most powerful things you can do is, you have the week and you have the weekend. And for many people, the weekend is entirely different. It's an entirely different animal than the week, right? The week might be more structured. You have a certain schedules where the weekend might be a little more free flowing, or it might not be. I know I'm busy with sports with my kids. Regardless, the point is you want to plan ahead. You don't want to wing it. When you're getting to the point where you ask yourself, what am I in the mood for? Because I'm hungry. Usually, you're not going to be happy with the choice you make.
Right. So, and that by planning, that can help us with consistency, which will yield better results, and it'll get that scale moving again. Right. Like usually, when the scale isn't moving, it's a consistency issue.
Yes, so many people, Adam, I'm stuck in a plateau. It's 99.9% a consistency issue, not a plateau, right? So consistency, are you sticking with the plan? Are you following through on the weekends? Are you letting up, right? I mean, we can negate an entire week's worth of effort, in a weekend, and even in a few meals on the weekend if we're not careful. And that's why planning ahead on the weekend is so powerful. And again, it does not mean you're not able to enjoy your favorite foods on the weekend. It just means you're planning for them. You're being intentional, which is what we're after.
Right. And so likely the biggest mistake that people make when the scale gets stuck, right? They've stopped following discomfort. Right? So if we're thinking about that weekend plan, the scale is stuck, here comes the weekend plan, discomfort, and we back down from it, right? So Biggest mistake, not following discomfort. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so if you do what you've always done, it's going to feel comfortable, right? By nature. You're used to doing something a certain way, you keep doing it, that feels comfortable. If you do something differently, that's going to, by nature, feel uncomfortable. That's the discomfort. And discomfort gets such a bad rap. To me, I like to look at it as it simply means we're doing something differently. And if we're unhappy with the results we're getting, and if we keep doing what we're doing, then we're going to keep getting the same results. So we have to do something differently. We have to go the other way. And that's why I always say discomfort is our compass. So the question I would encourage you to ask yourself is, where is my discomfort today? Where is my discomfort going to be this weekend? Where is my discomfort going to be this week? Because the more you can embrace it, the more you can seek out the discomfort. That was easy for me to say. The more success you'll see and feel.
Right. And it means you're moving forward, right? You're making progress. If you're uncomfortable, if you're agitated, by the way, the brain has to feel agitated in order to learn something new, do something new. If you're experiencing that sensation, that feeling, guess what? You're moving in the right direction for the scale to move.
And for the scale to move and stay there. We're obsessed with sustainable results, right? Easy come, easy go. And to your point, Haley, there's a term in psychology known as cognitive disfluency. And what that means is the harder something is to learn, the more uncomfortable it is to learn, the more it actually sticks with us. And that's a good thing. And, it's important to remember what's easy now was once hard, right? What's easy now is once hard. And just like what's uncomfortable now will soon be comfortable if we stick with it, if we persist. So just keep that in mind. I think that always makes me feel hopeful. When I'm learning something and I feel like there's this mental gymnastics, so to speak, or it just feels uncomfortable, almost like an itch in my head, that's a good thing. That means our brain is working, it's getting agitated, and that means it has a great chance of sticking with us.
Right. Like riding a bike, right? They always say you never forget how to ride a bike once you've figured it out. Think about how hard that is, right?
Oh,
coordinating all those muscles, like you're wobbling, you're falling over. So frustrating until one day everything just lines up and you figure it out and you never forget it.
It really is wild. I mean, I went through it with my oldest son. I'm going through it with my youngest son. It's like everything in our body wants to put your feet down, right? And not pedal and not balance yourself. It is so uncomfortable to do that. And it's crazy because we can do that when we're so young. And then when we get old, our tolerance for discomfort, somehow it diminishes, right? It's like, and I like to put things on a scale of uncomfortable, right? Like, so for example, our first point was track everything you eat. And sometimes people say, oh, I don't want to track. It's so annoying. I can't deal with it. Like on a scale of, 1 to 10, 1 being, 0 discomfort and 10 being extremely uncomfortable. Like how uncomfortable, is reporting what you eat or sharing what you eat actually? I mean, it's not that uncomfortable. I mean, to me, running a marathon is up there, right? But like, I don't know, sharing what I eat isn't all that uncomfortable. So the point is though, I think having a scale of discomfort also gives it perspective. So even if it might feel annoying or uncomfortable in the moment, you can kind of say, all right, well, how bad really is this? How uncomfortable is this really? Just like, it might be if you're used to eating ice cream at the end of the day and you have fruit. In the moment, that feels pretty uncomfortable, but like in the grand scheme, just doing it that one time, not all that uncomfortable.
Right.
So yeah, embrace that discomfort.
Awesome. All right. Well, we've laid it out there. The 5 biggest mistakes we see on that weight loss journey and oftentimes when that scale gets stuck. So avoid those pitfalls and we will see you next time. Thanks. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked that video, check out the link for another great video right here.
And if you're having trouble staying consistent, if you feel like you know what to do but just can't seem to do it, I invite you to check out our coaching program. It's in the link below. We offer one-to-one accountability, coaching, support. I know you're going to love it, and let's go. Together we can make it happen.